What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Like I said, this is going to be a day of trailer reviews, and here we have another Brute 1976 trailer. Indie horror film pays homage to Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Hills Have Eyes. Now that's two big, I mean, we're talking about two pretty big films, franchises. I'll say films, especially when we think about the originals, even though they both have gotten remakes. In the horror space, in the horror spectrum. Now you're going to be coming to give us a film called Brute 1976, so I imagine it's going to be based in the 70s. Indie horror film, and we know how those can go. But the fact that they're paying homage to two of the cornerstone, I don't want to, not fully cornerstone, but I will say Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a cornerstone. I think some can make the argument that The Hills Have Eyes is one of those cornerstone horror films when you think very broadly across the horror cinema. So I am interested to see how this one's going to play out and what this one's going to look like when you're putting, kind of mashing those two types of films together into one and paying homage to them. So again, I'm interested to see what this trailer is going to look like and to read this article and see what the synopsis is going to be. So, and just so you guys know, and I've said this before, when we do trailer reviews here, it is very rare I read through the article or I watch the trailer ahead of time. Usually what I will do is I'll skim through the article just to see how long it is, if I need to go try to find some more information about the film so we can cover it here. And when it comes to the trailer, all I do is look for at the timestamps just to see how long it is going to be, so I can just better prepare for the video if I need to go out and try to find a longer trailer, or if there's additional clips that we can share to give us more context. Outside of that, I don't read the articles, I don't watch the trailers. We watch them here as I record them, so I'm seeing it for the first time as I'm doing the videos. The only thing I really, outside the skimming the article, I read the article headlines, and that's pretty much it to draw my interest in. So I've said that before, but I just wanted to, as a reminder, just to set that context up front. Many of these, unless I'm following the progression of a film or TV series, for example, when I think like TV series, like Dexter, right? We've been following like Dexter Resurrection. We've been following the progression from casting to first look photos. So we have a very good understanding of preparation coming up to when that first trailer dropped. With some of these other ones, though, I'm literally taking it for face value for exactly what we're getting in that one article, in that one trailer, and seeing how we're going to react to it. So again, just wanted to, as a reminder and just to set that foundation before we jump into this one. So as we always do, let's jump into the article details before we check out this trailer. I did check out the timestamp on this one. So the timestamp for this is about 1 minute 32 seconds. So it's not that long of a trailer. And I've said this before, usually I think of a movie trailer to be around anywhere between 2 minutes and 15 seconds, almost up to 3 minutes. This one's only 1 minute 30. I'm not sure if it's because of the type of film it is. They may not want to give too much away. So, and that's fine. I just hope within that 1 minute 32 seconds, they give us our money's worth, so to speak, right? All right, so let's get into this. The trailer, which you are about to see, is an account of the tragedy which befell a group of youths. For them, an idyllic summer afternoon drive became a nightmare in Brute 1976. So that right there, I mean, that's, if you've ever seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, especially the remake, the talk over that happens at the beginning is very similar to that. Very similar to that. Even the fact that you have a group of friends, group of youths, driving in the summertime, very much how both the original and remake Texas Chainsaw Massacre started out, right? So I can see some connections there. Drawing inspiration from 70s horror classics, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Hills Have Eyes. The indie film will be released digitally on August 26th. So we, about a month and 2 weeks, so roughly 5.5, 6 weeks away before this one drops. Via Cinephobia Releasing. Set in August 1976, Raquel and her girlfriend have car trouble and break down on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. Typical 1970s issue, right? Typical 1970s horror starting off. Two friends, for some reason, you're driving out in the middle of nowhere and your car breaks down, which, side note, another trope we've talked about as far as your car not working when it should be working and had been working fine the whole time. But I think if you remove that as probably a tent pole for horror films, a lot of horror films probably wouldn't even have a start because that's how they start. At the same time, a group of people are in the desert for a photo shoot, as you normally would be. Why wouldn't you drive out to the middle of the hot desert to do a photo shoot in 1976? Because it wasn't like in the 60s and into the 70s, even early 80s, we didn't have a massive increase of serial killers running amok across America. So yeah, let's go out into the middle of the desert and do a photo shoot. Makes sense. Soon they stumble upon an abandoned town where a family of mass psychopaths reside. I would be stumbling my way out of that abandoned town as fast as I possibly could. Marcel Walls directs from a script by frequent collaborator Joe Netter. Neon Noir produces. More casting information. We have a trailer. A sequel titled Brute 1986 is currently in post-production. Okay, so we're not even... Wow, we haven't even waited to get Brute 1976, and they already have a sequel for Brute 1986 in post-production. Wow, that's pretty quick. Okay, so we have a nice little Homage here poster. I mean, you have the chainsaw here dripping in blood. You have a van, group of friends. Again, very 70s looking, as you would expect. It's Brute 1976. I wasn't around in 1976, so I can't imagine. I can't question this look, but I imagine this is probably what it looked like. So, all right, so let's get back to the top of the article, as we always do. All right, so now let's pull up this trailer and see what it's about.
You know where you are, right? This place's nickname is Death.
Let's begin.
All aboard for your one-way trip to hell.
No one ever comes out this way anymore. 100 years ago, this was one of the most brutal places in America.
Did you hear that?
The worst of the worst showed up here. Murder. That was the way of life.
One of us is definitely getting murdered here.
Anybody down there?
Be quiet. They'll hear you.
Is that a chainsaw?
We need to get out of here. Why are you doing this?
Why does anyone do anything? What do you believe?
So I see the callbacks. I see the homage being given to Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Hills Have Eyes. I can definitely see that. And if you haven't obviously seen those two films, I'd say put them on your list to go see. I don't know what it is about this, but I really want to see this. For an indie film, I think this looks really good. The one thing I think this film could have benefited from is give it that grindhouse filming look, right? Like where you have the scratching, you have the films kind of jumping, the cigarette burns, the sound kind of cutting in and out. I think if you would have kind of layered that grindhouse look and sound over this would be I think this would be epic. I think this could be epic if they would have done something like that, because it has the time period, feel, and look. Because there were a couple times in that trailer where it felt like it was it looked very modern, right? Like it almost looked like it was too modern to be happening in 1976, and then the film turned kind of cloudy. Not fuzzy, but kind of cloudy, where it did feel like, oh, this is being filmed like on 16 millimeter. Not quite, but almost trying to give it that look and feel. Now, as far as the story goes, the fact that they found themselves, like the one guy found himself, looked like he was screaming down into like a hole in the floor that led down into a tunnel system, and he yells down in there, and then he finds himself down there with the door being closed up above him. We saw the two girls that appeared that they were already in this tunnel system. Why you would be going into a tunnel system in any way, shape, or form is beyond me, but obviously that's what probably gonna make this horror film what it is. I do like this trailer, how they were playing some of that like old school Americana music, right? And it was almost like one of those very old record players is how it sounded. It sounded very muffled, and how they were again, then when you add in the style of how it was filmed, again, the cloudiness of how it looked, then switching back to a more modern taking look, like it was very clear HD quality, then the cloudiness added back to it. So I am adding this one to my list. I'm definitely going to see this one. Definitely going to do a spoiler review on this one. I love these types of films. I like when these types of films pop up, and I'm glad that we're finally going to be getting this one. I think what was the date? Let's go back into it real quick. I think it said August. Was it August 26th? We're getting it digitally August 26th. So I will. I'll at a minimum be renting this, but I think more likely this will just be a blind buy for me. I'll purchase this one outright because I'm that interested in this type of film. So be on the lookout for a spoiler review, probably the first week of September. Just one to allow others who might want to see this time to watch it, but I want to watch this one. I'll probably watch this one twice and then write up a review for this one. But this one does definitely does intrigue me. So drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think about the official trailer for Brute 1976, and we're already getting a Brute 1986 that's already in post production. So I'm sure they'll probably stick with some sort of theme, where if this one is kind of a callback or homage to like two classic 70s horrors, I wonder if they're going to do something similar to Brute 1986, if they're going to pay some sort of homage to a couple 80s horror films, and then obviously have like the whole 80s, you know, clothing and environment. So I'd imagine they'll probably do something very similar to that. So looking forward to whenever we get a trailer for that one. So drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about Brute 1976. And if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one. Later.